Hey coin collectors, and welcome to the Big D Coin Channel. This is DC from DC Coin World making another video to kind of pay back Big D from starting the DC Coin World channel for me and all the help he's given me since. And today we're going to look at the 1997 Philadelphia United States 1-cent coin. You can tell it's Philadelphia, of course, because there's nothing under the 1997. There's no P, there's no D, and there is no S. Philadelphia did not put a mint mark for the P that year, and so when we look for these, always look for the blank one for the Philly. And many of you know that Philly that year had a couple different varieties that went for a lot of money, including the doubled ear variety and the famous red cent that went for $300 or $400. So let's take a look and see what we've got here. We just got a pile of them. Sometimes you get these coins, you just put them aside in different years and look through them and see if you've got anything. You got something like this. It's not going to be worth anything. What it does do when you can look at it, though, is you can see some stuff about it. So you can see that this is a copper-plated zinc, and the copper plating is wearing off, and you can actually see some of the zinc on the inside. And many of you know that in 1992, the United States went from a bronze or a mostly copper coin to a coin that was mostly zinc. And so this is one of those, these lighter coins here. You see it says, "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty behind him." And if we look way down in here, and this actually is funny because you can see this so well, there's a VDB for Victor David Brenner, who was the engraver of this coin. We flip it up and we see that it has a smooth edge, and we can actually see the copper wearing off there also. And then when we get to the back, we see that this is a kind of disaster Lincoln monument. Sometimes what happens is these coins get left outside or they get in money. This coin actually has some really good colors to it and hues, but because it's so worn, not worth much. All right, let's look for one we can see a little bit more of. How about this one here? Here's a 1997, and you can kind of see this shine that comes off these zinc-centered ones. Quite different from the kind of the old. Here's a 74. Here's a copper one. And these ones, you can just see the different colors. So this is mostly copper, this is a mostly zinc, and you just get a different hue from there. Now, these coins with the VDB, the Victor David Brenner front, have been made since 1909. And they did change some things on it, however. So as we said, on the back now, we, of course, have the Lincoln monument with Lincoln there down on the inside. This is a Frank Gasparo design. You can see the FG over here to the side. Prior to that, we did have, here's a 1917 that we found. Actually found in change. It's pretty worn. It might be worth $1 or $2, except that when you get a 1917, you always look for the doubled die reverse. And then, of course, on the reverse of the 1917, we didn't have the Lincoln Memorial. We had the wheat ears 1 cent. If you can find a 1979 like this with a double die on the reverse, you're talking about, in this shape here, in this beat up shape, it's worth close to $200. If it wasn't as worn down and it was a double die, even in a really used shape. So they say very fine 20, which is not a great grade. A very fine 20 is worth $400. An extra fine 40 is worth $1,000. So if you find a 1917, make sure you look for those, and then look for the double die. And you can see that we're just not seeing any doubling on the back here. A lot of wearing and worn out, but this is the old wheat ear cent. Here's the new Lincoln Memorial cent. Now, so what do we need to look for on these 1997s? We need to look for a doubling of the ear. And what will happen is that just down underneath the ear here, you'll see another, almost like a second earlobe there. So let's look through all of them and see if we see any of those second earlobes. And we'll kind of try to keep them somewhere near each other so you can see that ear. This ear looks quite different from that one, doesn't it? The ears kind of, once you start looking at them on these coins, they look different, and you're going, well, why would they look different? It's just, I think because they stuck up a little bit. So this one looks different than this one even. But this isn't the double die yet. You don't have any doubling down below the lobe of the ear. Let's look at this one. Nope. I think it's unlikely we're going to find them. You know, people look for them, but let's see. No doubling down there on that ear. So we have a lot of these coins. A lot of them are beat. And the beat coins, zinc does seem to get a lot more beat than some of the older bronze coins. And I think we got one more. Yeah, so this is a flat ear. So you can tell the difference between this ear and this ear. See how this one is flat and longer? But that still doesn't get the doubling. If we did have the doubling of the ear, we might be talking about $50, $60. And if we had one in MS-65, we may be talking in the hundreds. So we don't have one of those. The other thing that you want to look for in the 1997 are the red pennies. If you can find one that's in really good condition, actually better than this condition, but it has a red to it, a red hue, a lot of times that means it just has a little tiny bit more copper in it, or the copper coated with the zinc a little bit better. So you can actually see the zinc coming through here too. If you can find this in a red, and this one is not red in any way, then it's going to be worth some money. What does the red look like? Well, I just pulled the 1997 proof set out, and look at that. So you can actually see the reddish color to it. This is because it's a proof set, this is of course, San Francisco mint, and because it's a proof set, you can just see the difference in how they burnish Lincoln's head here and how shiny it is in the back. You kind of see your pen and your face in it, actually. If you get close enough, you can see a reflection. It says, "In God we trust," at the top, "Liberty behind Lincoln," 1997 with the S underneath. This is a red coin. Because it's an approved set, it's not the expensive red, because the expensive reds are going to be ones that went into general circulation and weren't put in a proof set. But this proof set one is worth $4 to $6, even though, just because it's in the proof set. You'd have to break it out, of course. And sometimes we get those and we do break them out, or we find a broken set and we take them out. And the other thing is, let's look for the doubling of the ear, and we really don't see that here. All right, so we looked at the 1997s. We don't have any ear doubling. We don't have any reds. We do have the zinc, the thin copper plating on the zinc coming through in a lot of these. And we are looking forward to the 25th birthday next year of the 1997 penny. Thanks for watching Big D Coins, and this is DC again from DC Coin World. Have a great day. We'd love to have you subscribe to Big D Coin Channel and the DC Coin World Coin Channel.